Hey everybody. This one is gonna be about depression and psychosis, which I have experienced myself, and someone did ask me to do a video about it. And so this is it, and I'm hoping my neighbor doesn't come knocking on my door because she was supposed to walk with me this evening, and well, she wants me to walk with her. Anyway, and she wasn't there, so anyway, I hope she doesn't come knocking on the door in the middle of this is what I mean. I wouldn't mind if she did, but I have to brag about one thing first. I got my name mentioned in the local paper for my volunteer work with the newly formed Humane Society in our county, and then today at the first public meeting. So that was kind of cool. Made me a little nervous with the social anxiety, but took some Xanax beforehand, and I was still nervous, but I wanted, a little recognition. So, and that's not including the stuff I do at the shelter, where my 2 dogs that were feral and afraid of humans, one is doing fabulous, is going to be ready for adoption soon. Okay. Back to bipolar and depression and psychosis. Technically, it is called psychotic major depression. And people with or without bipolar, whoever gets depressive episodes can have the type that involves some psychotic symptoms. Usually, the psychotic symptoms that you run into with depression are delusions, and delusions are believing things that are not true. And when you think of it in the context of depression, it's usually, it's going to be believing negative things that are not true. And yeah, I have cheat sheets as always. And usually with depression, this involves guilt, which is a symptom of depression, but when it gets into psychosis, I'll get a little more specific in a minute, and paranoia. So for those of us with bipolar disorder and with our depressive episodes, you can experience psychotic symptoms. A lot of people only know about psychotic symptoms occurring with manic episodes. And you can have them with mixed episodes. But yes, you can have them with depressive episodes. And usually it is seen in the more severe episode, depressive episode, but you can still have psychotic symptoms in a mild or moderate depressive episode. So, more specifically, I'm going to talk about paranoia, which is kind of a common theme in psychosis, depression. And a lot of times it's along the lines of thinking that people are paying special close attention to you. Like they're watching you, waiting for you to do something wrong, or making note of everything you do and watching you to, you already feel like you're doing everything wrong anyway. And then when you really start to believe that people or one person are watching you, listening to everything you say, taking note, they're everywhere you go. Did they drive by? When it's not true. and feeling persecuted, which is kind of what I just described. And when I get depressed, I get the idea that everybody's behavior is in response to me. And so if someone walks down the hall with a grumpy stomp or something, or has a deep sigh or something, I would believe, not assume, I would believe deepest that they were angry at me, that they wanted me to go away. They were sighing because they were tired of me being around. Everything that everyone did was in response and to my presence, and they, you know, and then when I finally come out of it and I think back about it and I feel so stupid, I'm not that important. You know what I mean? I mean, people have other things going on in their lives. You know, like they're mad at their boss. They come home from work, shut the door, stomp around, you know. I don't know what, you know, but you don't even consider that. You just, everything's about you. And it's a common way of life when you're depressed, because your world is just, nobody likes you, and that's what you think, that's what you believe, and that's why any behavior that you can't construe in the simplest way is because they don't like you. They're making fun of you. I get that one too when I'm depressed. They're tittering about me. They're talking about me. But that's getting I'm starting to get into hallucinations, and we're going to stick with delusions right now. The other delusion is guilt. And that's a big problem with depression. That's just a symptom. But then when you start to believe that you were responsible, something you did, said, your very being, your existence is responsible for things that simply can't be true, like somebody's death. I mean, provided you really weren't responsible. Or even like an earthquake around the world. Yes, people in depressive have guilt in such a way, in that state of mind, in a delusion that something they did triggered an earthquake and killed hundreds of thousands of people. And they feel responsible for it, for real. And that is a delusion. And I'm going to stop here and continue in a new one.